Hi everyone. So I've missed I don't know, 6 or 9 uploads on YouTube, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. A lot has been going on in the last couple weeks, which is why I haven't been doing any YouTube videos. And I'm gonna tell you guys all about that. And since it's gonna be a whole bunch of random stuff, and it's all sort of tied into like holistic lifestyle, I'm gonna put timestamps in the description so that you can, if you don't want to hear all about all the, everything I'm going to talk about, you can just jump right to something that looks interesting to you. So the first thing I'm going to say is what really threw me off track is first my younger son got a cold, and it wasn't that bad. He was only out of school one day. But since I use homeopathy for most of my kids' conditions, it takes a lot. It's not like just going to the doctor, getting an antibiotic, take it twice a day, you're back to being okay the next day. Although, he was back to school the next day, but with homeopathy, it's a lot more just trial and error. When there's an acute condition, you have to try this remedy, and if that doesn't work, we go to this remedy, and you have to take it sometimes every 30 minutes, and sometimes you have to do a couple remedies together, and one of them is every 30 minutes, the other is every couple hours. So it's just sort of a lot of tweaking and going back and forth. The fact is that it really does heal the condition so that when the person is well, they're really well. So think about a time that you've had the flu and you've gone down for like a week, right? And then you're like exhausted for the next couple weeks. And if you're like me, like I used to be before I got well, I would have like bronchitis, like I'd get a secondary infection, or I'd have a cough for 3 weeks. I would definitely be pretty exhausted for like a month after the flu. It would just sort of wipe out my resources. With homeopathy, it is not like that. It's amazing. When it's done, it's done. And the chance for a rebound infection is much lower. You're really going back to school to work with a strong immune system, and your energy level is high and stuff like that. So it's really great. I got off on a tangent there. Yeah, so he got sick a couple days. At least one day, I think I took off work to just focus on him. And then, like literally the next day, as he was still recovering, we had to go get these spacers put in so that he could get an expander put in his mouth. He just turned 12. That took a few days of my time because it was a bit traumatic, which that's gonna tie into some other things I'm talking about for trauma. I will be getting to that. I'm throwing so much into this video, I don't even know if I can do this. My camera's probably gonna just be like, I'm done. So we had an expander put in. The actual putting in of the expander was traumatic for myself and my son because we have a lot of medical trauma in his history. So I'm traumatized by those things. So to see my son be put through a painful experience was so hard. And after they put it in, we then had to wait 15 minutes, have it removed, and put it back in again to cement it in. So in between the two, applications of this device, both of us like freaked out. I mean, we didn't like visibly freak out, but he cried. We took a walk to Publix. I was trying to figure out like, should I get him some ibuprofen? And the doctor said, don't get ibuprofen. It's going to interfere with what we're trying to do. I was giving him homeopathic remedies, which I don't know if that's what helps, but he called his dad crying. We were outside. He's like, I can't do it. I'm not going back in. And part of me wanted to just leave too. I was like, I can't do it either. Like, what am I going to do? We have to do this. And I'll explain why we're doing it in a few minutes. And I'm going to tell you guys other options to the expander, which I think every parent really needs to know, especially parents of young children like 3, 4, 5. But anyway, so we went outside. So now I'm going to be talking about prayer. We were out there and I'm like, what am I going to do? I desperately felt like I need my mommy and my son needed his mommy too. At those moments in my parenting journey, I just stop and I'm like, God, help. We need help. I'm scared. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I'm re-traumatizing this kid. What am I gonna do? And also, what if he refuses to go back in? So I literally had to just hand all that panic over to God, all that uncertainty. And I just sat there and prayed as he was talking and crying on the phone to his dad, begging to not do this. I don't know. You guys, I have prayed at times and it's like you can just see the whole situation, like God put his hand in it. Now I'm gonna cry. And you can just see like the situation resolve, and that's what I saw. He got off the phone. We slowly started walking back to the orthodontist office where we needed to go to get this application done again. And he said, let's do this. And he grabbed the door and he opened it. And he looked kind of angry and determined and just rattled, but more determined. It's like the determination took over, the clarity, the knowing that I have to do this. You know, like I know there are reasons I have to do this for my health. The situation was literally taken out of my hands and taken care of. And he laid down on that table and he had to get that thing taken out and put back in again. And he screamed and kicked. It was horrible, but he did it. And I really believe that he knew inside that this is something that really needed to happen. And it's also interesting to see your kids become more mature over the years when they have to face something hard. And that's something I'm trying to teach my children too, that sometimes we just have to do hard things in this life. So, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't have to do hard things and we're doing hard things when we shouldn't. So, you know, it's really about having discernment, clarity, prayer, and things like that. And if you're not into praying to God, meditation. I've had answers come to me during or shortly after meditation, you know, just being in touch with something greater than yourself. We got through that, but for a few days he couldn't eat solid food. It hurt to chew. Now, if it's an adult, they're just gonna find something, they're gonna eat applesauce and they're gonna go on with their day, right? With children, it's so much harder. Now I don't wanna eat that. Now I don't wanna eat that. So like I spent the next day like cooking soft foods, mashing things. Oh my gosh. So it was like a week of that stuff. So then I started to get back on my feet. I'm like, oh, I should get back to YouTube. And then boom, my older son comes down with like a severe flu. Like one of those flus that he was literally wakeboarding. We could tell he was getting a little sick as he was going there because he had chills. It was just like a little weird. And he said his throat hurt a little bit, and I almost told him not to go, but I'm like, oh, he just loves this. So he went wakeboarding. When he came back, he hit the bed and literally stayed there for like 18 hours straight. And of course, I started my remedies. I started herbs. You know, debated taking him to the doctor, but I've seen the flu 1,000 times. We've all had it, right? Back in the day, we just didn't go. They didn't have a flu test, so we didn't go. I already knew for sure it was the flu. It's one of those like sudden onset, my body hurts, I'm getting a fever, I have chills, I feel nauseous. It was like all of that. So, and sometimes I do take my kids to the doctor, honestly, you guys. It just depends on the situation. If I don't know for sure what it is and it's going on for more than a few days, usually like 3 days, then I'll go in to find out what's going on. Every once in a while, I do have to give my kids antibiotics, but it's very infrequent that we have to resort to that. You know, sometimes we just have to go in because like the schools want a school note, but this time we didn't need to do that. He was sick in bed for 3 days, which is not that bad for the flu. The 4th day, he spent another day just lounging around the house, which was great because just to regain his strength. And throughout the whole time, I was giving him a lot of remedies. So I want to talk to you guys about what I gave him. I will do a separate video on the flu at some point, but I want to just let you guys know a few things and I'll put links in the description. So one of the remedies that I gave him was gelsemium. This one is great for flus where you're absolutely exhausted. I mean, there are a lot of different remedies for the flu. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna go into detail, but that one we started with and we actually ended with too, because it can help you with that post-flu fatigue too. Another remedy, I wish I had grabbed it. It's called influenzinum. Link will be down there. Influenzinum is actually the nosode, which is a remedy made specifically to target a specific pathogen, and this one is called influenzinum. And then another one that you can buy over the counter, like at Whole Foods, even possibly some drugstores, is oscillococcinum. That's for the flu. And I also gave him a lot of Sambucus. That is elderberry syrup. So Sambucus is the brand that has been like clinically tested, and it shows to have shortened the length of the flu. Last year I got the flu and I was taking my remedies and stuff and it was helping me like get through the day and survive, but it wasn't, and everybody was out of town. I was here by myself and I had elderberry sent to my house, you know, through Instacart or something. I mean, almost immediately by the 2nd dose I started to improve. So I think that you have to do that as well whenever you suspect the flu. And then there's other things you can do like zinc, vitamin C, you know, we did some of that too. Okay, so I want to backtrack to this expander thing. My son is 12 and he sucked his thumb up until literally Thanksgiving of this past Thanksgiving. He was 11 when he stopped sucking his thumb. And what I used to help him stop sucking his thumb is this device. This is called the Healthy Start. Well, this is actually called the Habit Breaker. It's something you put in your mouth and they have different sizes for different ages. Your tongue sits on this little shelf to teach you correct tongue placement. This portion like sort of starts expanding your palate if you need it. The proper teeth placement, so it brings the jaw forward, because both sets of teeth have to sit in the grooves of this device. So if you are someone who like your jaw collapses when you sleep, it'll bring your jaw forward. So it can help sleep apnea, it can help mouth breathing, which is not good for you. Mouth breathing can cause allergies and things like that, because you're breathing in the allergens instead of breathing it in through your nose, where you're filtering out allergens and things like that. This device is this is the first phase of the Healthy Start device. So if you're interested in learning more about early alternative orthodontics for your children to prevent the need for like the real deal, like an expander or braces, then go research this. I'll put a link below. It's thehealthystart.com, I think is the website. And there's 3 phases. So you start with the habit breaker. So this will help break habits of pushing, thrusting your tongue, not swallowing properly, like while you're sleeping. You wear this for like 30 minutes during the day and then all night. The reason I'm doing a traditional expander for my son is because he's older. I didn't know about these alternatives back when I should have been doing something about his teeth. So he's developed, some problems with his, alignment of his teeth. He has bite problems. I don't know all the terminology, but he also has a little bit of apnea at night. He has mouth breathing. He has all sorts of things. The orthodontist suggested that I don't do a sleep study until we finish the expansion phase, because he said he has seen so many kids who sleep so much better, like no more sleep disordered problems, sleep disordered breathing from the expansion. So we're waiting on that. Another thing that helps with my son's like just breathing and sleeping is craniosacral therapy, but I'm not going to go off on that tangent, but it's been amazing. So the other thing I want you to look into if you're interested in this early alternative orthodontics, and actually these things don't always have to be used early. They can be used in older kids, but for the most part they work better for younger kids. Look at the Myobrace, so myobrace.com. This is also another device that can help expand the palate, help with any sleep problems, restlessness while they're sleeping, the sleep disordered breathing, alignment of the teeth. It can literally replace braces. It can prevent the need to pull any teeth. Sometimes orthodontics, the problems can be so bad that like a tooth needs to be pulled or whatever. It can prevent, and many times, the need for that. It also has been shown to help with immunity, attention and focus, behavior problems, even poor growth. They don't really say why, like when you go and do the research on these websites. I really believe it's because they're sleeping better. I believe that orthodontics can affect your sleep. So do that research. Going to these websites is going to be better than me trying to explain it. But there's so many things that can be related to orthodontics, and that's one way to try to eliminate some problems and maybe prevent like having to get the adenoids removed and things like that for snoring and breathing problems and things like that. So check those things out. What else? Okay, so I also want to mention that it's allergy season is starting up here. My kids and I have been, oh my gosh, yesterday I was like rubbing my eyes like crazy. One of my eyes is irritated from it. My other son has been getting like sort of scratchy hives and sneezing. So we're addressing allergies. It's late February here in Florida, so I don't know. I think allergy season starts earlier here. So 2 things that we've been taking. One is Sabadil. I'll have this in the link at the bottom as well. Can you guys see that? Yeah, Sabadil. This is, this can be found probably locally. Oh, it's also marketed, I think they just changed the name to Rhine Allergy. And then histaminum, this one you can get locally. I think you can get it at Whole Foods. You can definitely get it at Amazon or a health food store. So this is basically to help with histamine reactions. And this also has a lower potency of histaminum in it, along with other like plant remedies and things that can help with allergies. These are amazing. These work faster than Benadryl, way longer than Benadryl. Like sometimes we literally will need to take this like every 5 days. Stock up on those if it's allergy season for you guys and if you get that hay fever nonsense that we get. Okay, before I go on to this next thing that we're gonna be doing in this house, I guess you would call it modality, I wanna tell you guys that when my son got the flu, I also got a little bit sick, I don't know. So I was taking a whole bunch of remedies the same ones he was taking, but not all of them, but some of them. And I didn't need to take them as often, but I just didn't get the full-blown flu, but I definitely was feeling like the achy, the blah, blah, blah. And so I was taking these remedies and it was helping me feel better. I don't know what happened, but I will tell you, during that time, I stopped going on Facebook. And I was a little bit obsessed at one point because I work at home. I'm a single mom, so I don't get out as often as I would like, you know, socially. So Facebook is like my social outlet, but I've been noticing lately, my newsfeed is just getting so negative for several different reasons. I'm not gonna get into that now. One of them, obviously, politically. I feel like I've gotten to the point where I feel like I could say, oh my, it's a beautiful blue sky out today. And somebody's gonna comment below, no, the sky looks lavender to me and it's not all that beautiful. Like, it's just like, and not even me, like some of my friends who don't normally get like nasty comments, like they're getting like sort of, you know, comments under their nice things that they're saying. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't like this. I went off Facebook, I don't know, over a week ago now, and I just have no desire to go back. I only go back when I have to like check with a colleague about a remedy or something, like, you know, get a referral to a practitioner or something. And I also have a Facebook group. If somebody requests to join the group, like I'll go in there and deal with that, but I do not miss it. And actually anytime I've clicked on newsfeed out of like habit when I go on there, I literally just click right off. Like not only do I not have the desire, I feel repelled by it. I'm just like, I'm so done with newsfeed. I don't know how long this is gonna last. I don't know if it's one of the remedies I took that sort of shifted me, because as you know, if you're familiar with homeopathy, homeopathy shifts you on an emotional level. So I don't know if there's something that I took. I sort of suspect that something like that did happen. I've been organizing my house with the extra time. It's been amazing, and just getting work done and things like that. I went to the dollar store. These seem to be trending all over YouTube. I went to the dollar store, got a whole bunch of baskets and cool things. I've been organizing one thing after the next. I'm gonna have to do a separate video on that because my walk-in closet looks amazing right now. And I've been organizing instead of doing YouTube videos too. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but. So the next thing we're doing is SSP, that stands for Safe and Sound Protocol. And you can go to integratedlistening.com to do your research on that. I have a friend who, she's a colleague, she's been begging me to do this for my son for a long time, my younger son. And I actually think my whole family needs to do it, but we're actually gonna start with me. I'll get to that in a minute. My younger son struggles with sort of fight or flight type way of being. And it's gotten to the point where, in other words, he gets startled very easily. And there's other things too, but it really hit home a couple weeks ago when he walked into my bathroom to ask me a question. He was walking into my bathroom to ask me a question. He opened the door and got startled when he saw me. He knew I was in there. He was going in there to talk to me, but the sight of me startled him. Now, I've seen him get startled before, like when I've walked into a room and he didn't know I was coming. Even that's pretty unusual, right? But that really opened my eyes, like, what is going on here? He gets startled so easily. And when he gets startled, you can see this look on his face, like there's a heightened level of fear. His face could even turn red. He could even get angry and lash out. He's most likely to do that with his brother. He won't hit me. Like if his brother startles him or like sometimes brothers like will try to push your buttons and his brother will like try to scare him. Like Bradley, my younger son, will just get so startled that it'll rock his system so hard that he'll get angry. And I can understand that. I've had my older son do that to me too, where I'm like, and he'll like lash out, not all the time, but sometimes. So, and you can tell that it takes him a while to calm down. So, I don't know what this is from. He's never been abused to my knowledge in this life. He has had, as I've said before, we've had a lot of medical trauma. He has a brain condition. He had to have a lot of MRIs. He's been in the hospital with pneumonia before. Just a lot of trauma, like holding him down to get things done, really horrible stuff. And so I don't know if that's what it is, that leaves him with this startle thing. The Safe and Sound Protocol helps to unravel trauma. You don't have to be a trauma victim to benefit from this protocol. I mean, every person walking around has experienced some level of trauma. This is debatable, so don't freak out, but I'm gonna say, like, even boys who have had C-sections It's traumatic. They're not putting them to sleep to have this done. They're not numbing this. They're not numbing the situation. They are strapping their body down and cutting off a portion of their body. So the longer I've worked with children and the more I've studied homeopathy, the more I realize that we carry, even though boys don't remember that happening, we carry trauma, okay, in our organs, in our cells, in our energy field, in our psyche, however you want to look at it. And until we do something about it, it's there. I'm not going to go into like the mechanism of how this works, but this is called the Safe and Sound Protocol. And actually, I just received this yesterday, so I'm going to do a quick unboxing. I'm going to be speaking to the practitioner in a couple days. She's going to explain to me how to do it exactly. Basically what it is you're putting on headphones, you're listening to sounds. I don't know if it's music or like synthetic voices. I don't remember. I still need to like fully understand what it is. I've watched a few videos on it. I still don't fully understand it, but she's going to be talking to me about it. So you're listening to sounds that are affecting the ear canal in a way that, like, I don't know, it affects trauma in some way. So you guys have to do the research on that. So this is interesting. Here's the invoice. So this is by Integrated Learning Systems. And that's the website that you can go to do the research. It comes in this little box. Now I'm actually just renting this. I only get to keep this for a month. It should take me, if I do an hour a day for 5 days, it'll take me 5 days to get through it. The practitioner wants me to do it first because we've experienced some of this trauma together, and I definitely believe that I still am being affected by that. So here is big time special earphones. It says ILS on it, Integrative Learning Systems. And then it has a strap. No, know what that's for. And what else do we have here? Okay, it looks like it's like a Sony iPod. That's kind of cool. It's like a Sony iPod. So I guess the music is in there. And then she wants me to charge this before we talk. So I don't know if she's gonna have me like put it on and whatever. So you can do this in different ways. Some practitioners want you to do an hour a day for 5 days and be done. Other practitioners, she's going to be talking to me about like how to observe my son when I'm having my son do the listening. Sometimes it can make you a little agitated and you have to stop and then you go back the next day. So some people can only tolerate like 10 minutes at a time in the beginning. Others some practitioners just want you to push through. Just deal with whatever comes up. Go ahead and look into that if you have any level of trauma. Okay, this video is getting really long. I'm going to finish it with just talking about what's going on in my business real quick. So I haven't even introduced myself. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Stephanie Newton and I practice homeopathy from my home right here at my desk in my home office. This is such a messy office, by the way. I have to clean up. Like this video is, oh my gosh, making me realize. Hopefully there's nothing like really embarrassing behind me. Here's a bunch of eyes. Yes, such a mess. And like I said, I'm going through and organizing, so I'm gonna be doing one room at a time as I go. So just wanna let you guys know, this is to sort of market my business because this is something I am not good at. I am not consistent about marketing my business like ever. I rely on word of mouth, but sometimes things get slow and I'm like, I really should be talking about like what's going right in my business so people know that I'm worth their time and money. I've been writing down notes as I hear clients telling me good things, so that way. So this first one, actually I'll just do one today. This is a child with autism who is age 10, and this is what the mom said to me last time we spoke. She'll say, I will say things seem to have settled down with him. He's not humping things as much. I think we've reached a more even keel and things are less intense overall. So basically, when she's saying less intense, she means like his behavior, you know, his anxiety. A lot of children with autism have anxiety. And actually that for many children, that's their biggest problem. Having autism isn't really that much of a problem if you really look at the pure symptoms of autism. But a lot of them have anxiety, some of them have depression, some of them have attention, like severe attention problems, and some of them have other problems, you know, OCD, that's a really debilitating thing, which OCD is sort of a subset of anxiety. So she said that things have started to settle down. We used some homeopathic remedies, and we also used a nosode for a pathogen that he has had in the past. Oh, you know, I have to talk about this other one. This is a girl with autism, age 17. Basically, she's had mild autism, but her things have really heightened up in the past year. She has really developed like severe symptoms of autism where she had to stop going to school. She was having what looked like rages, fits of anxiety, way less language, and she's back in diapers. When I first met with her, she held up FaceTime to her daughter so I could see like her behaviors, and it was really severe. It was one of the most severe behaviors, autism I've ever like seen with my eyes and on video and stuff. Some things happened last year. I'm not going to go into it, but she, you know, had to have some things done so she could stay in school and things like that. And I don't know, something else happened. I don't remember if they moved or there was one other thing that happened, and she just tanked, really tanked. I gave her a remedy called Hyoscyamus, and that really helped. I'm not saying to give this to your child or you if you have anything like what I described. This is so, when it gets into complex situations like this or complex conditions, it's not one size fits all when it comes to these protocols. I have to work really hard to pick exactly what the person needs to take. There's a nosode I had the mom buy, but she's too scared to give it right now. That can happen. Sometimes people are afraid to give certain remedies, and that's okay. At some point you become comfortable with homeopathy, you see that it's working, and you become less scared to give certain remedies. Or if you just are too scared to give certain remedies, we'll give other ones. We'll work around that somehow. So that's fine. We're seeing amazing results with the remedy that I gave her. She said the rages have stopped. There's less urination. There's less just fits during the day of anxiety. A lot of things have really settled down. We still need to work on getting her language back. I think some OCD. Yeah, she's doing some like repetitive OCD behaviors. We need to get on top of that, but I think it's going to be a long road, at least over the next few months, before we can start to see like who she was a year ago. That has really made me happy to see that she is a responder. Most people that I do see are responders to homeopathy. I'm going to say around 85% to 90% are responders, which means within the first 2 protocols at least, they're going to see some sort of benefit. Sometimes it can be hard to see the benefit at first because it's something as subtle as just, oh, they're sleeping better. Sometimes at first they'll be maybe a little worse, you know, so we have to figure out like, is this an aggravation to the remedy? And we have to figure out, do we need to change the potency? Do we need to make a change? Do we need to change to a different remedy? So, you know, it can be hard at first to really know what is going on, but you know, it takes a trained eye, someone like myself, to know what to do next and to solve the puzzle. That's about it. So if you're interested in my services or want to look more into what I do, you can see the link below. That's it, guys. That was a lot. But, you know, again, you had the timestamps. If you listened all the way through, please leave a comment. I'm curious if anybody listened all the way through to this video. I don't know. This is a long video. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.